Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, we welcome you all to the 9th Sri Satyasai Vidya Vahini Satsang, where we, the Satyasai Vidya Vahini family, bond, share our experiences and feelings about this noble program. Today's Satsang is the first Satsang for the year 2022 and the first by the training team of Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini program. We commence with the invocation by Kumari Vaishnavi Chetri, followed by bhajans by Sister Sai Leela and Sister Lalita Krishnan.
गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमस्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनस् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्
मंगलचरणा गजानना मंगलचरणा गजानना गजवदना शुभानना गजवदना शुभानना मंगलचरणा गजानना विद्यादायक बुद्धिप्रदायक विद्यादायक बुद्धिप्रदायक गौरीतनया गजानना गौरीतनया गजानना मंगलचरणा गजानना गजवदना शुभानना गजवदना शुभानना मंगलचरणा गजानना विद्यादायक बुद्धिप्रदायक गौरीतनया गजानना गौरीतनया गजानना मंगलचरणा गजानना
करो हरि नारायणा दया करो हरि नारायणा करुणा सागर नारायणा करुणा सागर नारायणा पंकज नयना पन्नग शयना पंकज नयना पन्नग शयना श्रीवासुदेवा नारायणा श्रीवासुदेवा नारायणा पाप विनाश प्रशांति वासा पाप विनाश प्रशांति वासा पर्तिपुरी साई नारायणा पतिपुरी साई नारायणा परमानन्दा नारायणा परमानन्दा नारायणा दया करो हरि नारायणा करुणा सागर नारायणा पंकज नयना पन्नग शयना श्रीवासुदेवा नारायणा पाप विनाशा प्रशान्ति वासा पतिपुरी साई नारायणा परमानन्दा नारायणा परमानन्दा नारायणा दया करो हरि नारायणा करुणा सागर नारायणा.
Thank you, sisters. I now invite Sister Karuna Munshi, sister of Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini, the director of Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini, for setting the context for the program ahead.
Thank you, Saujanya. Loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Lord, who binds us all as one family, as his family. Good evening and Sairam, my dear sisters and brothers. What joy it is to connect once a month over these satsangs, because this is when we feel like we are all we get to meet each other, first of all, because we do such amazing work, but all long distance and digitally. This gives us an opportunity to connect with each other. And every month at Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini, one outstanding team comes up with some beautiful program, and we get to see the hidden talents of our members. Otherwise, we only talk on WhatsApp groups about the work we do. So this is beautiful to see every month our members chanting Vedam, presenting, singing beautiful melodious bhajans, and coming up with brand new insights and fresh perspectives on how we can intensify our sadhana and our seva. And I also like the fact that we have such a wide range of ages, from very young adults to some of us who are senior citizens, all working under the same umbrella of Vidya Vahini, and that makes us such a vibrant and democratic spiritual organization. So I this first of all, I must say the Satsang team puts its heart and soul to making sure that every month we have a spiritual feast which is unique and delectable in every possible way. And this week we have the training team. We have outstanding members of our absolutely superb training team present this satsang. And I thank, on behalf of all of us, I thank them. So without much ado, I hand over the mic back to the satsang team and to our training team who are presenting this evening. And I thank everybody who is joining us. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the satsang. Sairam. Can't hear you, Saujanya.
Had to, yes. Thank you, sister. That's quite an interesting way of putting the things, and it's pretty exciting as you make it sound, because of the efforts which go into it. And today's theme is from self-doubt to surrender. And to explore more on this area, we have the central training team, Dr. Chandra Janakiraman and Sister Vasanta Brahmandam as presenters, and they will be ably supported by the speakers of the day, who are also trainers and mentors of Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini program. Brother Roman Sharma, Sister Prabha Acharya, Sister Lalita Prasad, Sister Shobha Dasika, and Brother B.B. Gupta.
Om Shri Sai Ram, with humble pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to this satsang. When we were thinking about the topic the theme for this satsang when we had a lot of doubts. So we thought, why don't we talk about doubts and how we deal with doubts? So, as expected, we went to Google and we tried to look for a nice quotation on self doubt. And we found 6.9 crore hits within 1 second. So, we did not even need a quotation. That itself tells us how common self doubt is. So, self doubt is something all of us experience. Okay, that is a given. But what about self doubt in doing service? When we are given an opportunity to serve the Lord directly, to take part in a mission, in a divine mission, then do we experience self doubt? Of course, we all do. All of us have experienced that. What if I'm not qualified to do this work? Am I even capable to take on this role? This seems like such an important role. Can I do it? And what if I'm not able to do it properly? It is not just about me, it is the divine mission, it's the Lord's mission. What if SSSVV suffers because of something I don't do right? Right? So we are all, I'm sure all of us share these doubts. All of us have experienced these doubts. And then we wondered, is it just us? What about the great souls who have worked closely with the Lord, who have served the Lord directly? What about them? And then we found this quotation from, not a quotation, but this paragraph in Sri Sai Satcharita, written by Sri Anna Sahib Dabholkar, also known as Hemad Pant. He talks about his doubts when he decided to, uh, start writing Sri Sai Satcharita. So, in his own words, he said, I do not know the life of my intimate friend, nor do I know my own mind. Then, how can I write the life of a saint or describe the nature of incarnations, which even the Vedas were unable to do? One must be a saint himself before he could know other saints. Then, how can I describe their glory? To write the life of a saint is the most difficult, though one may as well measure the depth of the water of the seven seas or enclose the sky with cloth trappings. I knew that this was the most venturous undertaking which might expose me to ridicule. I, therefore, invoked Sai Baba's grace. This is an excerpt from Sri Sai Satcharita. This book has printed millions of copies, and we can find a copy of this book in the puja room of millions of devotees all over the world. Yet, when this great author set out to do this work, these were the doubts he had in his mind, and we can all relate to these doubts. All of us had these doubts when we started out training, mentoring, or creating content. To share their thoughts on these doubts with us today are two of our own trainers and mentors, Brother Robin Sharma and Sister Prabha Acharya. Over to them. Saira.
Om Shri Sai Ram. With pranams at Bhagwan's divine lotus feet, let me begin the flow of my thoughts with a common yet a very poignant question. How do we know whether the actions that we have performed are right or wrong? The answer to this question came as a solace to many of us during the discussion in one of the awareness classes at Bhagwan's University. Any action that paves our way towards God allows us to think of and revel in His divine glory can verily be justified to be a good action. Indecisiveness, doubt, and uncertainty are what all of us face time and again in our lives. These overpowering emotions, if not handled properly, can lead to actions that for sure will result in a devastating state of affairs. I too was in a quagmire of such emotions, on the verge of the completion of my master's degree at the university. A few days more, the course would have got over, and I would have left the portals of the Divine University once for all. During this difficult state of mind, Bhagwan so lovingly prompted me to surrender my thoughts at his divine lotus feet and remain assured of his divine intervention and guidance. Following this divine prompt, I continued the pursuit of higher education at his lotus feet till February 2014, which otherwise would have terminated during March 2007. This so loving guidance is so deeply etched in my heart even today, for during this period, Bhagwan so dearly taught me to choose God over self and the world. Love in action is service, and Bhagwan's University is the greatest platform where young minds are given ample opportunities and the right guidance to plan, execute, and experience these in the most unique and meaningful ways. These opportunities bring with them a series of right and positive personality traits that break individual shackles of doubt, lack of self-belief, and low confidence. I was fortunate to be a part of some highly motivated and inspired students who would practice sealing of desire and save some pocket money to be utilized during a vacation to serve students of a village school in a far-off place. The group would wait for this annual event every day throughout the year and would never miss an opportunity to seek Bhagwan's blessings and guidance before they would leave for vacation. Year after year, I started learning the nuances of teaching and school administration. Over the years, with Bhagwan's grace, I had learned the art of surrendering when in self-doubt, and I would, without a second thought, directly plunge into applying this when in need. On 23rd September 2009, I got an opportunity to pray to Bhagwan. I prayed thus, Bhagwan, always keep me with you. To my prayer, Bhagwan nodded in affirmation and blessed me profusely. I have analyzed the above prayer for years now and have realized that following his teachings in life is in real living with him. Let us be aware of his plans for us, his guidance during self-doubt, the power of surrender at his lotus feet, in accepting that the divine sculpture is bringing in us a great inner transformation for our own good. Once almost drowned and lost in the quagmire of self-doubt, today this boy, in all humility and gratefulness, is serving Bhagwan in his school in Sikkim. In his plan, we are safe under his custody, and being in Bhagwan's custody is the real freedom from everything. Thank you, Swami, for this wonderful opportunity. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at Swami's lotus feet. Swami knows the best for us. It's so true. Now as I think back, I realize his hand was always there in framing my destiny. In February 2010, I was offered a job in a coaching institute. I was full of doubts about whether I would be able to teach students after a gap of 20 years. My son encouraged me and said, worst come worst, you can resign if you are unable to do the job. And this started my journey. In November 2010, when Swami launched Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini, my best friend informed me and asked me to join Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini. Still, I was under doubt and didn't join the program then. I thought, I'm not the right person to work in Swami's huge mission. I did not realize then it is he who is doing the calling and not me. I always had this self-doubt, apprehension, and a low self-esteem. My work in the institute include teaching students and making PowerPoint presentations. These presentations were used to teach students online, especially in schools in E-Road. I went through YouTube videos to learn how to make PPTs and give voiceover in them. Swami slowly and steadily brought me into his fold, and the circumstances led me to contribute in Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini. Then in 2016, I attended the T3 workshop at Brindavan campus. With lots of self-doubt, my journey in Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini training started. I started training the teachers of various Satya Sai schools. Every time I walked into a classroom and spoke, I could feel Swami's invisible presence. I would finish the class and realize that the voice may be mine, but the words were his. Swami gave an opportunity to be part of the PYF program as well. I always had a doubt if I could contribute towards Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini content. With lot of apprehension, I started working on creating PPTs, and that's how my journey with Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini started. Swami made me join the job, gave me the training in creating PPTs, and then he pulled me into his folds of Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini. And in this period of COVID for the past 2 years, sitting at home has brought me closer to Swami Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini. He made me part of the teachers training and made me the multimedia mentor and reviewer. In 2016, he made me join the Spastic Society of Karnataka. He had already planned to start Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini Inclusive Education. I went with the flow my life was taking me without realizing why am I doing what I am doing. Swami is planning everything for us. He is the one who is making us to do things. He is preparing us and bringing us closer to his fold. He had his plans for including me into his Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini Inclusive Education. Today also I have this doubt if I am eligible to be part of this team. And I think as my faith in Swami grows stronger, this doubt will keep steadily decreasing. I am grateful to him always and pray that he always holds my hand, taking me along with him wherever he wants to take me, and let me always work in Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini in any position. With prayers to Swami to keep my faith in him stronger. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, after listening to the previous trainers, we all agree that self doubts are common thoughts in life, especially when you're working for the divine mission. And we all know divine missions are never trivial and they are beyond human thinking. When we look at the large scale of education task in Swami's divine mission in Vidyavahini, we are overwhelmed by the enormous task. As training team, when we see the training needs across hundreds of schools and thousands of teachers, we feel we are able to reach only handful of them and their needs are larger than life. We feel tiny in comparison. When we think of Hanuman and the task given to him to get the Sanjeevani herb, he had limited time and long distance to cover and a large area to search. So, what did he do? How could he complete the task? He grew bigger than his problem and he wanted to do something to Rama. So, with his love, sincerity, and dedication by chanting Rama's name, he could accomplish the enormous task. But, well, we are not Hanumans, but at the same time, we wanted to do something to Swami and for his divine mission of education. So, whatever little we do in our lifetimes, will it be enough? Can we rise to the level of expectations of this education task? And are we even making a small difference? And when we conduct these trainings, we constantly are anxious about how little we can do and stressed about how much needs to be done. Now, we listen to Lalita Prasad, who is one of our trainers, and let us listen to her expectations from this, experiences from this divine task of enormous education.
Sri Saira, in continuation with the doubts expressed by the earlier speaker, even I felt confronted by similar inadequacy looking at the educational scenario of our country. The statistics available on the number of schools in different areas and the number of qualified teachers present per school do not give a satisfying picture. Even in Kerala, which is the most literate state in India, has one teacher schools situated in the thick of forests where the students and the single teacher will have to brave wild animals and walk miles together to reach the school. Most of the cities are blessed with well established premier schools, but they are accessible only to higher income groups. Slum dwellers end up attending night classes on roadsides and bus stations. Most of the teachers in rural areas have no means to upgrade themselves in any way, and they remain ill-equipped to guide senior students. Even though the government aims at providing free and compulsory education for all, the reality is we are nowhere near it. On top of this, 2 years back, when pandemic struck the entire world, nobody thought of it as such long-lasting and destructive in nature. Everything came to a standstill and all the schools were closed. The children were left with nothing to do, no studies, no going out to play or mingle with their friends. It took some time for people to come out of this shock and look for an alternate means to enable the children to continue with their education. Soon, online teaching appeared as a silver lining to the dark clouds. And the mobile phones, which were out of bounds for the children till then, became the most important tool for getting education. The hurdles were many, like finding suitable platform, familiarizing all concerned, especially the teachers, the students, the parents, with the techniques of handling these gadgets. Besides, remote areas had networking issues. Even though many of these hurdles could be overcome slowly by the affluent, many of them, it was inaccessible to many of them. And those without these expensive gadgets were denied an opportunity to listen to their teachers. Even some of those who were lucky enough to get hold of a phone had to walk long distances to get the range and had to climb on trees to listen to their classes. Only when we hear such stories, we realize what little are we doing. There are millions of children in the remote areas of this vast country who are not able to attend classes even now. What little are we doing to redress their grievances regarding their basic right of getting education? We may feel we are doing our best, but how little is our effort when compared to the magnitude of the problem? But let us take our first step in at least alleviating the situation by dedicating ourselves in the service of God Almighty. Thank you, Saira.
So, brothers and sisters, we see that all of us feel self doubt. And when we look at the enormity of the problem, as very well articulated by Sister Lalita Prasad, we feel what we are doing is so little, and we are overcome by anxiety, overcome by stress. And then what do? There is only one thing that we can do. We surrender our ego, our work, and the outcomes of all the work that we do to the Lord. We realize that there is something even beyond the goal that we are working toward. We may be planning a training for 14 teachers, 20 teachers, or 10 trainers, but there is something beyond all of this. And only He knows the big picture. Only he knows what else is out there. Our vision is limited to the next goal that we are working towards. So once we realize that, then we are released from the anxiety. We are relieved and we don't feel the stress anymore. And that gives us the freedom from our ego. Once we realize that we are not the ones holding everything together, we are not the ones creating the big plan, drawing the big picture. And we also realize something very, very significant, that all these challenges are but little exercises where we are learning something very valuable for our own spiritual journey. And that is, we are learning how to surrender. We are learning how to surrender little things, little outcomes, the attendance. How many people are going to attend this program? How many people are going to respond to, a quiz? How many people are going to come back for the next session? We surrender. Each and every step, we learn how to surrender. To speak a little more about this journey to surrender, we now invite Sister Shobha Dasika.
Sairam, dear brothers and sisters, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Bhagwan, with whose grace I am fortunate to be in this first satsang of 2022. Prior to me, our brother and sister shared their experiences on self-doubt and enormity of divine mission. To continue with the discussion, how can we win the grace of God? It's only by surrender. I had read this about surrender in Prashanti Nilayam. To surrender means to turn your thoughts away from troubles, to turn them away from difficulties that you encounter. Leave everything in His hands. That is to say, Lord, I thank you for having taken everything into your hands, and you will resolve this for my highest good. Surrender means to do anything at any time without any desire or expectation. Patience is the foremost characteristic of surrender. I always had a desire to serve Swami in his education sector. I used to pray fervently, and then my prayers were answered. I got an opportunity to serve in the PYF program of Vidyavahini and later in the training team. My happiness knew no bounds. All this happened in April 2021. And within a few days, I was affected by COVID and I was in Puttaparthi. Initially, I was okay, but then I required external oxygen support. It was May 6th, Ishwaramba Day. I went to the COVID care center, but beds were unavailable. At first, my mind was blank with uncertainty, but I had a strong belief that Sai Ma would come to my rescue, and I kept chanting the Gayatri Mantra. After almost an hour, my husband gets a call saying that the arrangements are being made for my admission into the hospital. My joy knew no bounds, and I was sure that Swami had laid the path for my recovery. When in the ICU, I was constantly listening to the Rudram and Sai Gayatri. I could see Swami in all the doctors, nurses, and the support staff. I recovered soon by their love and care. Thank you, dear Swami, for my second lease of life, my Punarjanma. The immense love and grace showered on me, and the support I got from my husband and my family members. As I was recovering, the interesting work at Vidyavahini helped me to move forward, and I'm trying my best with Swami's guidance. Though I gained experience in my career, but constant learning and volunteering in Vidyavahini is like my booster vaccine for life. I'm a rivulet joining this mighty ocean of this great mission, knowing our beloved Bhagwan has a plan for me and he will guide me to accomplish the task. I would like to conclude the surrender prayer. Sometimes you feel disasters increase instead of diminishing. Do not get agitated. Close your eyes. Tell me with faith. I think of it only when you trust me totally. I always think of you, but I can help you only when you rely fully on me. Thank you, Swami. Jai Sai Ram.
Well, we heard about self doubts, enormity of the task, and agreed upon surrender. So, what next? So, we decided to surrender to Swami. So, he'll take care of everything so that we can sit and relax. No, no, that is not surrender. We agree to do some work. So, start moving. Keep one foot in front of the other and then move on. Leave all your doubts, anxieties, worries behind. And remember that we are here only to help ourselves and not others. Every day we are learning new skills, new techniques, new knowledge, and all this new learning is our personal sadhana. We have to remind ourselves that we are here only for working and for the working of divine mission. All our knowledge, skills, energy, and attitude are offered at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swami. We are bringing only small pebbles to construct the bridge of education. So, when the bridge will complete, how can we construct the bridge across the states with our small pebbles? Is it possible? Leave the doubt again. Bring small, big, or as many pebbles as you can and keep on working with your work. And one day, all these small pebbles will become solid rocks for the bridge. And have faith. And at the same time, remember that our beloved Swami will never disappoint us. He'll make us grow big in new learnings. He will give us strength to continue the bridge of education for all. Again, remember, divine mission will continue. You and me are not indispensable. If not us, somebody will join tomorrow and they will continue to do the work. So let us be the squirrels and bring pebbles as if today is our last day and we cannot do it. We cannot bring any more pebbles from tomorrow. So think that way and then start bringing the pebbles to construct this way of education. Now, let us listen to Brother B.B. Gupta's views on working with the divine mission. Sairam.
Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranam at the lotus feet of my beloved Bhagwan, Shri Satya Sai Baba. We the staff member of DCM group of schools, offer our sincere gratitude to Baba and the Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini team for providing this golden opportunity of working with them. Our PYF team is pleased to interact with the teachers of Sri Satya Sai Gramin Jagriti Vidya Mandir Darbar. The work assigned to us is helping us first and then others. Teachers who initially were hesitant now realize how their teaching skills have improved and they are enjoying work with Vidya Vahini team. The joy of associating with the mission itself is so encouraging that one cannot explain the same in words. We know that we are just to ensure our availability and He will grant us the capability. We have learnt a big lesson that what we must do is surrender to God and ask for the wisdom to do the assigned job. Rest He will do. Let me share with you the feedback from my staff. They love using the content for their classes and the combination of will with skills has made their life more meaningful for the society. They understand that they should surrender all their knowledge, energy, talent and skills at the lotus feet of Sai, and Sai will do wonders with the same. The teachers, sometimes you feel that all your efforts have got blank and you are unable to think beyond. Not to get disheartened, just surrender. You should work with the same zeal and intention as the squirrel during the construction of bridge in Ramayana was doing. You bring pebbles as per your capacity without thinking about what you can add from your side when so many others are doing as much. Remember, Karmanya Vadika Raste Ma Phaleshu Kadachan. You have right to on your duty, leave the rest to God. We are to learn a lesson that if we are to enjoy our work, we should not only faith, but trust is also required. We need trust that He is the doer and our job is to surrender all our strength to Thee, our Lord. Let me share a story with you to explain the difference between faith and trust. There was a row between two huge towers at the top of 23-story building. A person was walking from one roof to the other on the rope with a bag at its back. People on the other side were watching with anxiety and fear on their faces. Finally, the man reached the other side and asked the crowd, "Do you have faith that I can go back now?" The crowd said, "Yes, of course." The man turned back and there was a 6-month-old baby in the bag. He asked the crowd if they would replace his baby with theirs. No one came forward because they were having faith but not the trust. I wish I should have trust in divine mission, and I offer my sincere gratitude to the Lord for assigning us some work to serve humanity. Sai Ram.
Thank you, brother. See, we have planned this theme of self-doubt, enormity of the task, and then surrender. And that was some time back, almost 3 weeks before we planned everything. And we assigned and distributed the task among our trainers, and we were working on it. Then just few days before, our director, Sister Karunaji, circulated a post. And many of you may not be aware of the post. Those who have missed her post, I would like to read the highlights of the post for you all. Let's never forget that we are the tiny rivulets or tributaries plugging on to his Vidyavahini, which in turn is taking us to the ocean of love, the Sai Samudra of Prema and Ananda. Never ever doubt if we will accomplish the task that the Lord has assigned us. He will. He will accomplish the task that the Lord has assigned us. He will achieve everything we imagine and much more through us if we do our little part with love, sincerity, and harmony in true team spirit. After reading this, we felt very happy and had taken this as assurance and affirmation from our beloved Master Bhagavan Sri Sat Sai Baba that he is thinking with us and working through all of us. Thank you and Sai Ram, everyone.
Thank you so much, sisters and brothers. This was something which all of us were looking forward to. As Bhagwan says, whatever other accomplishments one may have, they are not equal to the joy to be derived from rendering selfless service. The Lord of all the worlds, Sri Krishna, was willing to serve as the charioteer of Arjuna. I'm sure all the trainers and most of the Vidya Vahini volunteers who have logged in today would echo the same thoughts, because however capable we are, whatever capacity we have, nothing is possible without his intervention. When we had those offline trainings or even the online team trainings, despite our professional and personal obligations, Bhagwan would change the situations for us when we surrendered beyond self-doubt and immediately converted the situation to our benefit. Our sweet Lord is always holding our hands while we undertake his work, and the Vahini flows across the length and breadth of the country. I request you, brothers and sisters, to kindly post your queries in the chat box. On that note, I had the pleasure of inviting Devanai sister to offer the Mangalarati.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari Swami Satya Sai Hari Shiva सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय